Welcome, ladies, geeks, and gentlemen, to the second annual 5v5 Dark Age of Camelot tournament. A new year, a widely anticipated and controversial new patch, and a whole new lot of teams. The setups will be wild and unpredictable, and planning looks to be at least as important as execution. The favorites will step onto the field with guarded confidence, cocksure of their setups and strategies. Underdogs with frenzied optimism and tricks designed to confuse and blindside their opponents. The audience waiting with bated breath for the inevitable shakeup of the presumed pantheon. The top three teams from last year nowhere to be found. We will have a new winner this year. Everything has changed. Setups will be wacky and wild. The days of methodical, plodding Dark Age have given way to precision and the visceral excitement of the unforeseen, wombo combo that turns a fight on its head. Buckle up and hold on. It may be the dog days of summer, but for this little game of ours, everything comes down to this. It's time to begin the 2016 Dark Age of Camelot 5v5 tournament. With me, as always, our very own linguini-loving, fusilli fanatic, Spaghetti Johnson. Welcome, Wes, and thanks for joining us again this year.
Hi, everyone!
And of course, we also have returning again and gracing us with his presence before he actually fights, Obelisk, who's going to be helping set the stage for some of the fights that we're going to be seeing today.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Happy I got a team this year.
Yeah, it was nice to actually get on a roster. No more watching from the sidelines.
Yeah, it was nice, man.
It doesn't
Off the
usually work
booted
out
list.
that well though when people go from the casting booth to the game.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see.
You're looking to buck that trend, of course.
Gonna do my best to. Been practicing all week.
That's good. So I guess the elephant in the room, of course, right now is the massive and sweeping changes that have taken place over the last month. So maybe talk to us about that. Wes, you're sort of just coming back, and Obi, you've been back for a while. Tell us about how groups are approaching things differently this year than they might have been last year as it comes to group setup.
Well, it's a whole new meta, really. So many changes across the board for a lot of different classes, so no one really knows. It's been so recent that the groups hadn't really had time to discover the full potential of each class, full potential of combinations of each class working together. Especially when you throw in the Mordred rule set, it just creates a whole new dynamic, really.
So when you are making your group setups, I guess there's probably two different ways people are doing it. There's going more conservative and incorporating some of the changes, and then there are people who just go completely different and just a wide departure from what you'd normally see. What approach did you guys take? And I'm not asking you to reveal your secrets, of course, but
Well, I mean, we just kind of looked at what kind of setup do we want to run. Do we run a hybrid, a tanker, or do we want to go like maybe a 3-caster, 2-support type build? Personally, we decided to go with a hybrid group just because we felt that was more balanced and could do better against all the teams in the tournament than maybe going with a full tanker, a full caster. So that's what we decided to do. As far as implementing classes with these new changes, we just kind of had to look at all the classes across the board, see what was available on paper, and just kind of hope it works. Because, like I said, it's been hard to test all these new changes because this has happened so quickly, and this tournament approached pretty quickly as well. So.
Right, and there's some new dynamics with the synergy between the classes too. Maybe talk us about that, about how you guys decided which classes would work well together.
Well, I mean, looking specifically at caster trains, a lot of classes now, specifically Sorks, we looked at, and we are running a Sork. He's going to be our main debuffer, since they now have a matter nuke, so they can assist a third and the Sork can now assist matter together, which is something that wasn't a thing in the past. Really, you never saw caster groups running matter trains, so you just really had to look at what these new changes opened up for combinations of classes. Like I said, I mean, we just kind of went through them and figured out what worked best.
And what kind of setups are you anticipating seeing from some of the other groups? Like, what do you think is going to be some of the prevalent trends?
I mean, looking around here, you see some tank groups, some tank heavy groups. You look at Skill Cat, which is Nate Bruner's group. They seem to be pretty tanky. And I think the Black Dragon, their team seems pretty tanky. There's a lot of tanks. I think we'll see a fair amount of caster groups too. I don't know if the hybrid's going to be as popular. But we'll just have to see. Just looking around, see a lot of casters and a lot of tanks on separate teams. So not a lot of hybrids yet.
And how have you guys factored in the possibility of some of these? I don't want to say cheese setups, but some of the setups that have the opportunity to kind of instant burst down a couple people if they can get that combination working together.
Oh, of course, man. Like that's the great thing about 5v5. You can create a crazy setup that just has so much insta kill potential, and if you can get an early kill, that you kill one person out of 5, that's taking away 20% of their group. So that's a big advantage. Those are definitely setups you have to worry about. Looking one particular, you see a really unorthodox group in Swamp Donkey Ninjas. I think they're running mostly Rangers. And with some recent Ranger changes and stuff, that's going to play out very interestingly. So I'm looking forward to see how they do.
And Wes, you've been off on a bit of a hiatus, coming back and looking at some of the changes. What really jumped out at you as things that have really changed in the last month?
Yeah, so I haven't played this new patch at all, and what really jumped out at me are the light tank changes are pretty huge. I'm kind of seeing. I know we saw a few last year, but we didn't really see too many. I think it was mostly like ran by casters and hybrid. But I'm kind of curious to see if anyone will whip out the light tank setup. I kind of want to see the new stances in play. So that's really what stood out to me the most. I saw the skull changes are pretty crazy in my opinion. A lot of I'm gonna say like skill cap, a lot of different situations that I could do really good in, but it really will depend on the skull player themselves. So I'm kind of excited to see all these changes play out, and it's getting me kind of hyped to come back to the games.
Nice. And just from your initial investigation, what kind of trends do you foresee happening here with the group setups?
I am seeing the skulls. I am seeing a couple light tanks here. You have the famous Nate Bruner. He's out here. He's about to put out some 4-digit numbers, I think. I'm still seeing a lot of casters, though. I think I see a Paladin right here. I know Obi's been pushing for about 10 years now to get heals on him. Finally happened.
Got him.
Step 1 is major heals for them.
Yeah,
he's got a whole...
yeah. Step 1, he's trying to get the graders in there.
Well, that's coming later.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't know that.
One step at a time, man.
Yeah, the most interesting group is definitely the Stealther group. I've heard they're very strong right now. You get kind of like a vanish for a teammate on the Archer, I believe.
On the Assassin, but yeah.
Oh yeah, on the Assassin. You got the the new Shadow Strike or whatever it's called now, where it's it's useful.
Yeah, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, their damage output is the potential is very, very high to be quite the force to be reckoned with, especially if someone's good at timing things correctly. That damage output can be lethal. And it'll be interesting to see if groups are going to make use of that, because of course there is a downside to running a stealther as well. They're not invincible to damage, I guess, to putting it lightly, and they're a bit of a glass cannon.
Yeah, like what you were talking about, the cheese potential of it. The insta burst, destroy 1-2 people on ink possibly. But if they don't, then you're looking at maybe a sweep, maybe a blanket mess comes out on them. They don't have much to answer to it. But it all comes down to how it plays out on ink, how timers are used properly. So I'm kind of excited. I like outside of last year, I am seeing a lot of variance. I know that debuffs are back up to 50% for casters, the caster debuffs. So maybe we'll see like people dropping even quicker this year. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see a lot of this play out.
And speaking of cheese potential, let's look at the guild and the group. Triple Cheeseburger. They look pretty strong.
Yeah,
they're
that's
definitely
a lot
my
of
favorites
cheese
for the tournament.
Yeah. I am upset that they didn't go with the full burger setup though, or the full fast food setup. There's 2 people in the group. I'm not gonna call them out, but I'm just upset.
You were looking for a full sort of like an Aqua Teen Hunger Force kind of motif?
Yeah, exactly. I want to see a Frylock. I want to see Master Shake in there. I want to see Meatwad, all right?
Okay.
I'm just upset.
And so there's a lot more participation than last year. I mean, even with a few teams dropping out, we have, I believe, what's the count at? About 19 teams, 17 teams? So almost a 50% or over 50% increase from last year. So the tournament last year was certainly well received, and we had a lot of fun doing it. But we actually have some very cool new things that we're going to be able to do this year, which has been so the folks at Broadsword have enabled us to do. And of course, one of the challenges last year was being able to observe the fight without interfering in it. And sometimes some of the natural obstacles, so to speak, were interfering with our ability to do that. I remember Obelisk was actually killed in one of the fights by an NPC mob.
I have the shadow play of it.
This year, we're going to be able to observe the fights in a far better manner. So Broadsword has enabled us to fly around invisible without the ability to interfere in the fight and observe things, which will be a massive difference for us. We won't have to. There will be less guesswork as to who is using what or what is occurring. So I think that'll be a major increase in the quality and of the production value.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be able to get around, get right up in the fight without, dying Cornwall Giants, Fadfoots, No, they are now our friends, and it should be good. It should be a lot better than last year for sure.
I'm going to take this opportunity to also give a little bit of some procedural information as to how this is going to work for some of the viewers that haven't been able to locate that information themselves. So the group stages is going to be all best of 1 fights, and the matches will take place in random zones, and then the winners of those groups will move on into the knockout round. So that's how it's going to work. It's going to be best of 1s in the group stage, and then the elimination, the final rounds of the elimination will hopefully be best of 3s. Now, a lot of this is going to be time permitting because there are a lot more teams this year, and we're already a little bit behind schedule, but we're going to try to fix that as best we can moving forward. Obelisk, I know that you have a team to get back to at some point, so if you need to step out at any time, Wes and I won't be offended.
I will.
We'll miss you, of course. And
I'll be back throughout the tournament.
And yearn for your return, but we likely won't.
Okay, as long as you yearn for me, it's okay.
Change the password.
So let's talk a little bit more about the patch, simply because it was such a massive change.
Will we see Animus? Will we see Animus?
Will we see Animus? That's a good question.
I want to see him.
I was almost playing one in my team, but we decided to go with the hybrid setup. So.
Oh no!
I mean, I don't see one today.
Do you think it would be effective?
Yeah, I do. Especially when you factor in the new creeping bombers they have. They're 199 delve matter nukes. Really combo well with the Sork Thurg, I think.
Right, yes.
And you get another pet. So yeah, I think they'd work out well with that. That's what we were going to do, but we decided to go with something else.
Yeah. How do you feel about the super bomber, as I call it?
I haven't played my Animus yet after the patch, so I wouldn't have any in-game experience with it, but it sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a nice bit of damage, but it's also counterable, which is also good for enemy players, so they can actually do something about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, folks, we're looking like we're about ready to start here. The teams are kind of assuming their positions. The first fight will be Black Dragons versus Dark Knights of Vengeance. So we got a very kind of ominous theme to this first fight. We have Black versus Dark. So whoever wins, there's certainly an evil motif to this first fight. And I think we're about ready to go. So once I get the go-ahead from Babin here, we are going to get this first fight started.